Hello and welcome to my ideation session for a NASAPUNK game based on a choice by my patrons for the theme for this month, so thank you all so much. I thought I would go through like what is NASAPUNK, what is sort of the process that I go through when I'm thinking of how to make a game, and yeah, just do a bit of an example of roughing up at least a print and play draft. So what is NASAPUNK? It's sort of a concept that it's like a near future kind of very like the black and white space shuttle aesthetic. And the basic concept is it's sci-fi, but it's near enough that you can, and visually similar enough that you can draw a line sort of from current space technology to space technology in the future. So you see a lot of things like kind of Dyson rings and big fuel tanks and solar panels and all this kind of stuff. So moving away from sort of Star Trek and Star Wars, that sort of aesthetic where it's all very contained and relatively sleek, and doing these kind of big chunky things. There's a game coming out soon that's made by the people that made Skyrim and Fallout called Starfield, which I'm very excited for. That's probably the end of this year. Yep, 11/11. So yeah, there's a lot of cool artwork out there that we can sort of take inspiration from when building whatever this game is going to be. So when I start out with a game idea, generally I'll go through sort of like 6 stages. Sounds like a lot, but it's sort of, they're really just steps. So the first step is sort of exploring the theme. Step 2 will be going into like what are the elements of that theme. So what are the sort of like bits and pieces like spaceships and characters and things like that. Step 3 is going through the mechanics. Again, I could have prepared these slides earlier, but I mean, we'll start like this and just build up over time to something a little more fancy. Step 4 is where we make a very rough draft. So that's something where I will print it out and like have a play and have a test, and I think that's the point that we'll get to this time. So step 5 is usually test with others, so play it with other people and see what they think. And then do step 6, which is usually some kind of finishing the rulebook and in general the game, but the game won't really be finished at this stage because this is sort of an ideation design period, which is all I have to do really for a print and play game, because I essentially make a print and play game every time anyway for all the games I make. Or have made in the past, but yeah, like I don't necessarily need to worry about the next step of manufacturing and stuff like that. However, there are considerations with print and play games, such as you don't want to have it all be like really dark and thus have people needing to spend a lot of money on printering and things like that. So let's get started with step 1, exploring the theme. So when I say exploring the theme, I mean like going into, fiction and work that other people have done and research and sort of what's out there already, what do we know about the topic. It doesn't have to be like a PhD or something, but I do like going into sort of particularly the aesthetic at the start that I want to go with. So in this kind of NASA-punky stuff, this is all very sleek, but it does have those big sort of round kind of gravity rings. We've got, really chunky aesthetic, have possums running around the roof. We could use that maybe somehow. Space monsters, big engines, solar panels, things like that. And in terms of space games, because it's a print and play game, it needs to be relatively, not simple, but like not having a lot of components to print out. That's the challenging part. So while I'm exploring a theme, I'm thinking, you know, space is a lot about like fuel, artificial gravity, people, travel time, kind of people going a bit crazy in deep space. If you've ever seen the movie Sunshine, that's something that I think is really cool. Such a cool movie, extremely NASAPUNK. In terms of like even the spaceship they have is this giant, it's just got like a giant shield on the front. Where is it? Sunshine Icarus 2. Yeah, I mean, like, look at that. This is so cool. But yeah, you know, like, so it's like missions, deep space, sort of being out on your own, surviving on your wits and reflexes. And then there's another one with Avatar movie Spaceship. So I have done a little bit of pre-work thinking about all this stuff, but yeah, you know, that like this spaceship is super dope. I mean, look at that. It's got like heat, you know. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting resource management, travel, sort of plane negotiation and survival and stuff that we could go into. So I think that's what I'd like to lean into, is the idea of this NASAPUNK game, which I don't have a name for yet. NASAPUNK game. So I'm exploring a theme. I'll go overview. This part can usually take you know, several hours or minutes or really just or days, just depending on how complex the concept and the idea is. So I've done a little bit of thinking, and I think what I'd like to do is make it that you are traveling around, and also thank you, Nathan, for giving me just the broad kind of idea for what to do with this particular concept. So it'll be surviving in space, traveling between post-apocalyptic colonies, negotiating with crew members, so that's other players, about what to do, where to go, and how to accomplish your grand mission. Wow, my spelling is awful today. Okay, we'll fix it. One day I'll start editing these so you don't have to watch all this kind of stuff. Yeah, so in exploring the theme, we also want to go over who are the players. Okay, so I would say deep space explorer survivors in our solar system, and it'll be good in terms of the negotiation and sort of survival aspects. They have different kind of specialties. Cool. Specialities. And this is all very broad at the moment because after this step we'll go into the next step, which is yeah, working out what the elements are that will be combining together and how they work together. Who are the players, and then what is their goal? So this can be a collective goal, or everyone has a different goal. I think that would be really sick. I love games that have slightly different goals for all the players. So some players, yeah. So I guess like survive to the end of the game. So we'll probably have some kind of time limit to the end of the game. So different people need to be able to like die or be eliminated from the game somehow. Survive to the end of the game, and let's say advancing your, it's like faction or your So I like the idea of deep space like guilds almost. So as you're traveling around, just sort of working together but also accomplishing your own like secret mission almost. So own agenda, which is secret from the other players. Cool. My. Okay, sweet. So what I'm also going to do is actually break this up page by page, just so that we're had a bit more organization. Now this is, you'll notice, sort of becoming a bit of a rule book as well. That's why I like doing these, because it can save a buttload of time later on when you're like, okay, now I need to write the rule book. I'm awful at writing rule books, and I sort of always try and ask people to help me do it. Because I'm just terrible. Yep, alright. I think I was going to edit this part out. Sorry for that. Okay, so now let's go into the elements. So elements is where you go, okay, what will the people be interacting with? What will they be doing? Like, what are the constraints in terms of physical stuff? With a print and play game, you've got sort of potentially like infinite pieces, because people could just keep printing. You know, you don't have to worry about shipping or freight or cost or anything like that. But like, no one wants to print out something that's like 100 pages or something, or even like more than like, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6. I'm still learning. But so what I'd like to do is have sort of like a ship page where players can build a ship and maintain it and stuff like that. So that will have sort of like a grid, sections, A4, I'll leave it at that. And then so ship page. Now, one of the I think cool parts about being part of my Patreon is that I actually, if you are at everyone's name goes in the game somewhere, but if you sort of subscribe to some of the higher tiers, or actually put you like your face in the game somewhere. So it's like the character as an item, or some background somewhere or something like that, if people want. So I think it would be good to have characters in there. This is something you see actually quite commonly in Kickstarters and crowdfunding campaigns, is that people will allow people to put themselves backwards into the games. So I thought that would be kind of fun. And so characters, items, different specialities. Alright, and then the specialties, I think I want to stay away from the more traditional ones that I've used in the past, which is like piloting, combat, diplomacy, things like that. I think I should go for something a bit more granular and a bit more based in reality. So if we think about like what are some actual things that people do in space, so there's you've got to do navigation, you've got to do computers, and that can be quite technical. You've got to do like EVA, so that's extravehicular activity. You've got to do like the logistics, got to do the food, rowing. You can also do I think we should have someone who's good at like combat, because that'll be kind of fun. Piloting. I just don't want it to be like that's it and that's the main part of the game. Because also I've got 17 Patreons as of today. Thank you all so much. So we need a lot of characters and a lot of skills. Piloting. Let's do in space. This is like biology. Let's put cybernetics in there. Why not? Cybernetics. Also got engineering. That's like mechanic. Yeah. So engineering is like building stuff. Mechanic is fixing stuff. Mechanic, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And some more. We'll come back to that. That's the thing I like doing when I'm getting started, is just sort of rolling with it and seeing what comes up and what comes out. Especially if you're using cards and things for the game. It can make it really easy to just know like I need to have 50 cards or something, because that's like the standard deck size, or 54. No, 52. And yeah, just knowing that you have to fill those in as you're designing other parts of the game, you can come back and sort of, as interesting things come up. Oh, like for example, robotics, which is cool. Okay, so starting the game. Okay, so in a survival game, we usually have sort of resources. So resources for building, resources for resources for building, resources for fighting, I guess, resources in terms of fuel, and resources in terms of like electronics. Because we'll be setting up a sort of what's called like a rarity pyramid as well, where some things are really easy to find, like scrap metal and stuff to just build like the structure of your ship, but more advanced stuff will be more difficult. You probably need some kind of, as well, like a menu of stuff that you can build. So with a print and play game, what I'd like is for each player or character, or player in charge of a set of characters, is probably what we'll go for, to actually print out and then like write on their sheet and go like, okay, like this is my person, this is their specialty, this is like what they can do, and you can also over time customize the ship. So I like the idea of having sort of menus, a bit like role-playing games, like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, where we can just find it out. And then scroll all over it, and if the character dies, you just make a new one. So I'd like to, yeah, so like item slash ship module slash, I guess like we can use that for situations that you'll be running into as well. Yeah. Situation menus. So I will do more videos about like actually putting all this stuff together in the process, but because I don't want this to run too long. Yep, almost at the 20-minute mark. It's amazing how quickly time flies. But yeah, so like items with different like specific purposes, e.g. cutting into hulls. Yeah, creating creating certain items. Controlling robots, hacking, stuff like that. So the items will be what you can carry individually, and I think it'll be cool if they're all single use. I've been thinking about this as well, is like, it would be sweet if at the start it's a bit like a roguelike. In the game, there are all these kind of challenges you'll face and all these possible solutions and things, but each solution can only be used once. So, oh yeah, like oxygen tanks, you know, stuff like that. So you might need to choose whether you want to board a station, like a derelict station, and use up an oxygen tank and a sort of laser cutter, or if you want to save that for a little bit later. Ship modules would be, so what I like doing is, these are way more expensive than items in terms of resources and stuff, but they provide some really powerful abilities, powerful permanent abilities. So, and they'll also increase the number of characters. So I think it'd be cool, yeah, if this is all about like collecting characters, saving people, like finding stuff out about people's secret missions, things like that. Oh, characters and secret goals. Yeah, and the goals are separate cards, so you can have, you know, some characters will have other ones. I'm also thinking they all have like history and personality traits and stuff, and yeah, I just get really excited at this point because it's like the fun ideas stage. NASAPUNK. Okay, so So ship modules with powerful permanent abilities, so expensive ship modules, also increasing with characters. Cool. And then what's left? I'm gonna put 6x6 grids of items. Usual. Whoop. I'll explain what that is in the next video, I think, because yeah, I'm thinking of doing like a randomized kind of dice rolling thing where it's like literally everything in the game can only be encountered like once before it's like gone or spent, but like you would need to play many games in order to see everything on offer, and to sort of find all the items that can fit all the locks and the keys and things like that. So yeah, I didn't realize that this would be such a long section. Ooh, situations. So what I'll do is I'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for listening. I am super excited to get into this topic. It's just such a cool kind of world building exercise, and I hope you enjoy coming along the kind of ideation game design journey with me. If you have not yet, please sign up to my Patreon. The last one is like $5 a month, and which is amazing. Every little bit helps, and we have a private Discord where I'm talking to everyone about this game and making it, and I would really love people's opinions, and yeah, to be able to hear what you think and what you'd like to see in a game like this. Game design is really collaborative, is how I like to do it, so yeah. Catch you later. Thanks again, Patreons or patrons, and I'll see you in the next one.